Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. What a day to be a fan of English sports, with so many talking points today. Scump goes off in the entire series up against London to clutch up for OpTic in the Game 5. Clayster not a happy man after getting embarrassed by FaZe in the first series of the day, and Boston fully collapsing against New York. Loads to dive into. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First series then, Vegas versus FaZe. Frustrating really that Vegas are so bad now, because I thought, you know what, surely they'll at least maintain their good performance early online, at least into the major one, you would think, right? Like, they've got to be good for a month at least, but yeah, it turns out they're not so good anymore. The M4 meta maybe didn't help them so much. This is also a question that's going on, right? Which one of these will happen first? Will Clay fall off the map first? Pretty hard to do in this game, to be honest. So Clay will, you know, have his work cut out to do that, or will Legion get a victory? But it's been a long time since that happened, and it didn't happen today either against FaZe. Map 1 though was honestly pretty interesting. I thought Vegas were maybe going to take it, you know, a lot of scars making their appearance, right, and Temp was doing some good damage, and yeah, well, obviously, well, this is one of the clips here from Temp, absolutely delivering the goods with the scar. He was trying his best, right? Clay had a really rough start. I think he started like 3-12, or it was looking like a 4-22, but I've been on the cards again for practically the second time in a couple of days, but yeah, in the end, Clay avoids that, still doesn't have the greatest map 1 though, as FaZe managed to take it, and then like the full collapse comes through. Like, we haven't seen much from FaZe in their search and destroy so far. This was just domination of another level. aBeZy's just laughing. When aBeZy's laughing at you, you know the series is chalked, because when that happens, the Tiny Terrors are having a good time. It's rare that there's any comeback, and honestly, this is the first series I've seen in seems like a long time where FaZe have just embarrassed a team. Like, it happened a bit last season on occasion, but in the Cold War season, every other series, they would just embarrass the opposition, and this was, you know, one such series where they're just straight Worldstarring these guys, and then the final map as well of the series, they were almost trolling and still just getting kills. So yeah, Vegas, I don't know where they stand right now in terms of best teams of the game, but they're certainly not up there. aBeZy has a great bounce back series. They move into the major 2-2, respectable all things considered, given it's the start of the game. Things are going to get chaotic, but Vegas play Rokkr tomorrow for the honor to go 0-4, which is especially unfortunate given when you look back at that series against Florida, they should for sure have won. It would have been a rather different story for the start of their season, but yeah, they got demolished here by FaZe, and it's definitely tough scenes for Clayster, because as he says, absolutely slammed 0-3 GGs, and I mean, yeah, I didn't really share that clip here, but, well, I did share the clip, but I didn't really talk about it, where aBeZy just destroys Clayster here on this final second. You guys see in a second, he gets this one kill, and then I think Clay ran out of bullets or something, I don't know, I mean, he actually explains it here, right? He had 5 bullets out of ammo, GG, so I guess fair enough, but yeah, Clay 0-3, straight slammed, right, for the Vegas guys, and this was what happened immediately after the series. You guys can see that Clayster's headset, or not the headset, but maybe the headset does get slammed as well, but the camera gets thrown off the monitor, so, and you know, Temp is back to his Vanguard days as well, so, I don't know, not a pretty series. Gotta say as well, look, we knew coming into the season it was the SMGs that were going to be a bit of a scary point for this team. Yes, Clay had a bit of a stinker, largely that was game 1, but, yeah, Prolute, 24 kills over 3 maps, like, yeah, it's not looking so good. And TJ has 3,400 damage, like, I don't know if that's the lowest so far in a series this season, but it's got to be down there, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Don't really want to dwell on this too long, because it was not a pretty one to watch. Let's dive into the OpTic series then. This is a banger, and I was hoping it would be, because London have definitely shown some promise, especially in their search and destroy so far. Last time they played was Major 3 in Vanguard, a quick 3-0 for OpTic Texas that time, but a different story this time, especially with Moustache Scump, man. And it's crazy to think that this could be his last season. Well, it is going to be his last season, he's confirmed it, but just to think that the level he's performing at right now, compared to the entire rest of the league, to be honest, the fact that this game suits him so well, and he might step away after the first year out of 2 of the same title, is an interesting proposition. But look, at the end of the day, it's better that he's going out frying, that he's going out with a bit of a whimper, right? Because often you can see that with players at the end of their career. So while it's sad that he's retiring playing at this level, it's at least better that he's retiring going out well than not doing so. But yeah, man, he is the hard carry for this OpTic team right now, and it's kind of crazy to think about over the last few years. But this game, the no slide cancelling, the pre-aiming, just seems to suit his style very well. He can pick up a scar when necessary also, and yeah, he went on a pretty big streak here, game 1 also, went on a 6, 7, 8 maybe at one point, as OpTic established a bit of a lead, but then London came back and won the game 1. So I think that's really where the OpTic guys have got to focus right now, because their hardpoint has not looked so good. Their search has been very solid, especially given they won 2 searches here against London London, that's not an easy thing to do. London have dominated the search and destroy scene in this game, to be honest, so far. So, you know, the fact they're losing the hard points to London, that's a bit of a surprise. One thing that for sure OpTic will have to work on here. And, yeah, towards the end, London actually take over and win this game 1. And then game 2, big story really was Scump clutching this 1v1. Like, man, the amount of clutch plays, it's not just the KD for Scump, it's the impact he had. This 1v1 definitely turned the tide of the battle in that search and destroy. OpTic then went on to win that map. Then it goes into the control here, and like, I mean, look, Shotzzy is a menace to deal with in and around this, man. I mean, look at the movement that he does here. I don't know how you meant to kill this poor guy, but London actually got up 2-0 here, and in classic London fashion, throw it away, or, you know, they bottled it a fair bit, let's be honest. They went up 2-0, then lost this one 3-2. OpTic forced around 5 with a nice offense victory here. Honestly, control is like, control's definitely better in this game than it was at the start of Vanguard. Like, watching Tuscan and watching Gavutu last year, it was an absolute disaster. At least offenses can actually be won this season, at least in the maps we currently have. Fortress, bit of an exception, but even we'll see in the New York series a slightly different story there. OpTic forced around 5, they then go on to win the round 5, holding down their defense, and yeah, iLLeY didn't have the greatest series, but he was making plays, and Scump was turning up as well when required, right at the end of the game to hold on to the victory. So OpTic come back impressively, and this also to note, Dashy was using the red dot on the scar. I know some people were saying this is G8, I don't really think it is. I think it's just an attachment you can use. It's just not particularly common to see it used, right? He was using the red dot on the scar just to try it out. Like, Dashy doesn't seem, especially compared to last year and even the year before, doesn't seem so comfortable in this game so far, it's got to be said. Especially, you know, just purely at the numbers and stuff like that. So he's trying different things to make it work. Tried out the red dot. Apparently that's not happening again, and we'll see that here in a couple of seconds. But aBeZy, we've got to mention his performance, because wow, this guy was playing as if OpTic had dropped him and he was playing against his former team. This is the type of performance he puts up against former teams. Game 1 he goes 38 kills, that broke the record at the time for the most kills on a map. Hydra would break it later in the day, but yeah, dominated game 1, then basically did the same thing. This is meant to be map 4 here, right? The second hard point of the series. And it's cool to see aBeZy frying, because this guy, it's always difficult to say with aBeZy, because there's always that element of inconsistency there that you feel like at some point of the season his numbers aren't going to look like this, but when they are, the impact level is just out of control. And it was kind of the aBeZy versus Scump show in this series, both putting their team on their back, to be honest, to try and take them through the series. Goes game 5, and this is when OpTic and iLLeY especially turn up. I know that iLLeY was having a bit of a rough series up to this point, but he turned up game 5. It's beautiful to see the snipers in play as well. Dashy not using the snipers, iLLeY using it. Great wallbang here as well from iLLeY to, well, get this crucial kill, tie up the game 1-1, and then just Scump was just at it again and again. So many rounds in a row, Scump in a 1v1, Scump getting crucial entry kills, finishing off rounds. And this was just one example here, a 1v2 that Scump finds himself in, needs to, well, prevent the bomb from going down. It's 1v1 with X. He picks up the bomb. Paul heads over towards the A site. Scump gets the info, plays the 1v1 perfectly. A few seconds left on the clock, pops the dead silence, opens the door so X doesn't want to plant the bomb, then hides. Just, yeah, perfect stuff from Scump here. 3-1 in the end. Then it goes 4-1, quickly 5-1, and then there was this moment which closed out the series with iLLeY with a crazy collateral. We don't see many collaterals in competitive play, and this one, they lined up for accuracy in Cold War, they lined up for Pred last season, but this time it's the other way around, and it's London lining up for iLLeY. I mean, look at that, absolutely beautiful stuff. Obviously didn't intend the collateral, but it happens, and yeah, London go down without too much fight, it must be said, in the game 5. So really Scump catalysed this, not just the rest of the series, but also that game 5. Couple of key clutches, and that was enough to put OpTic over the line. So not exactly a convincing series victory, but look at the passion from Scump, man. This guy just loves Call of Duty. This is when their winning moment happens. Obviously, it's a few seconds early in person than it is on the broadcast, because the broadcast is slightly delayed. But yeah, iLLeY gets the collat. iLLeY's hyped about it. Scump's well hyped about it. And Dashy a pretty muted reaction, all things considered. But I mean, look, it's a league match at the end of the day. They get through. They advance to 2-1. Arguably, it could be 3-0. But tomorrow is the big game, right? That's the game up against Los Angeles Thieves. That's going to be a banger. And if that goes game 5, OpTic even can take the victory, then they really stamp their authority on this league. Because London have proved they're not an easy team to beat at all so far. They were 2-1 coming into this with some decent wins in the first week or so. Not massively impressive. OpTic's hardpoint will certainly have to improve. And, you know, maybe that'll be helped by Dashy getting rid of the blue dot. He says, love my bros, they're insane. And basically admitting that, yeah, the red dot doesn't really work. Slasher says, I'm hoping the red dot works, but yeah, don't like the Iron Sight ARs. No way, all mains baited me to try it first. But, yeah, it turns out doesn't really work. And Dashy says, this is me thinking I had some insane stuff. Turns out wasn't really the case. That's going to go away for the future series. But, yeah, as Formal says, right, Moustache Seth is a demon. This guy has been out of control so far this game. It's funny to think really because it's not like he lost his groove last year, but there was some times in Cold War and even last year where Scump wasn't quite the player that we know he has been. But yeah, with a game that suits him, and obviously he's keen to go out with a bang in his last season, he's playing just unbelievable Call of Duty and is right up there with the best players in the entire world right now, witnessing greatness no doubt. 1.27 series KD on the whole, and pretty impressive given the fact that they lost the hardpoint right and Scump was still delivering this in the 2-3-5 Neslo style. It was the Scump versus a Seam show in fairness. But it's got to be said, Scump can't just carry this team every single series, right? They're going to need more production from probably Dashy especially, just because I think so far Dashy's been the most underwhelming player to me in terms of pure numbers. I think if Dashy starts to turn up as well for this OpTic team, they're probably going to need him tomorrow against Thieves to turn up if they want to win that series. So we'll see how it goes for them. Still at London, I've been relatively impressed by them, but I'm sure they feel like they should have closed this one out. Let's talk the final series I'm going to discuss in this video. We'll talk about Florida versus Thieves tomorrow. New York, Boston, baby. A great series in theory, right? New York versus Boston. Obviously that local rivalry there anyway. Boston win the game one. Like, I mean, Hydra was going off this entire series, still lost the game one somehow. His overall numbers here are absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. Then game two, a massive collapse from New York. They go up 4-1 here. Somehow Kismet just hops the defuse and gets it, no problem. Then Boston come back and win it in around 11. That's when I thought the series was done and dusted, really, because you collapse like that, you're thinking Boston probably win this series. But actually, no. Game three goes New York's way somehow. Boston will be kicking themselves about this. They should have won this round. They were on defense on the final round here. They had a great life advantage. New York were entirely trapped in their spawn, and somehow Hydra gets a couple of kills, just goes off on the main stage. 39 in 25 for Hydra, breaking the record so far this season for the most kills in one map already, and again, and somehow they win it. I have no idea how they even did that. Boston must be fuming. Then there were some delays before the map 4 started. They tried to start it, it failed. They eventually got back into the Hydro, and yeah, what an absolute mess this map is to watch, to be honest. Kismet has got that fish in him, people were saying, because this guy was delivering the goods in the water this entire map. I don't even know what I was watching for this game, and even as Sasha indicates, maybe gentleman's agreementing the water in some of these situations might be the way to go. They take it to a game 5 though, and then they clutch up the game 5 against Boston. Boston not happy at all. 2 of them quit the lobby immediately, so getting the stats was more challenging. But yeah, New York, the first reverse sweep of the season is in the books. Boston a full collapse from them. Game 5, 6-3 in their favour. Method's not a happy man at all, as with the rest of the team. There's nothing specific they did wrong apart from just losing that game 3 control that they should have won. And then yeah, after they lost that, the momentum was in the favour of, well, Kismet and Hydra especially. And the SMGs there absolutely went off, even with Skies having a .77. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.